Opening Up, written by Lunatone. There was something about friendship that makes lives more enriched. For even in the darkest times, friends are one of the few things anyone seeks. Friends are everywhere. The inhabitants of Ponyville knew this very well. Ever since Twilight had moved to Ponyville, the small town had become a place filled with friendship. Ponies made new friends every day, never stopping in the endeavor to share their lives with one another. Sometimes, however, friendships decay, even if the bond between two ponies were deemed unbreakable, and even if they had known each other since they were young. Currently, Ponyville was enduring some rainfall. The residents had no intention of stepping outside. In fact, most decided to simply reside inside and wait until the weather was pleasant again. Even the town's most elite Pegasi had elected to keep indoors, positive that their storm would run its natural course with negligible intervention of their doing. There was no pony outside. There were only the steady taps of raindrops falling on the cobblestone streets of the town and the rare crack of thunder. No pony was ludicrous enough to brave this kind of storm. Well, almost no pony. Maybe with the exception of a yellow, canny Pegasus who sat beneath a tree. Fluttershy was aiding an injured squirrel into a tree so it would have a warm, safe place during the storm. After she got the little critter in the tree, she leaned against the trunk, slid down, and sighed. It had been a long day.
Why, did I have to open my big mouth today? I probably lost a friend all because of all this.
Fluttershy started to get a sensation of butterflies in her stomach as she recollected the day.
Just because she's been your friend since you were a filly doesn't mean that she has to feel the same towards you. You shouldn't be so stuck on that. Besides, the two of you are not even alike. So why are you pressing this so much?
Fluttershy exhaled loudly, then stood up lest she disturb the resting squirrel.
Why does this have to be so difficult?
That same question had been swirling around in her head ever since the day Fluttershy met her, and she wasn't any closer to finding an answer.
Maybe I should go to bed now. Seems that's what every pony else is doing.
When Fluttershy got to her front step, she heard a noise, something akin to a call or shout-out. Fluttershy turned with her ears perked up to see where the voice was coming from, only to realize it was Rainbow Dash calling her from above.
What does she want? To rub it in my face?
Hey, Fluttershy?
Rainbow Dash said, landing on the cottage's front step, next to her friend.
Can we talk? We kinda left things on a rough patch, and I just wanna say I'm
sorry? Don't be. It was my fault for what happened today. I shouldn't have been so...
I came to say I'm sorry, Shy, and that I was in the wrong today.
Rainbow wiped her wet mane from her face.
I know how much today meant to you. It's special to me too, but I guess I got carried away with the mini golf and Twilight. Look, what happened today isn't your fault. If any pony should be to blame, it's me.
Fluttershy looked away from her friend before saying,
But I'm the one who took out all my anger out on you. I even went as far as calling you an insensitive friend. And how you never treated me right. That wasn't right of me, and...
Shy,
Rainbow gently brought Fluttershy's chin up with her hoof, so they could look eye to eye.
You had every right to take your anger out on me. I'm the lousy friend, not you. Everything you said to me today was true. I haven't been the best friend I promised you'd I be.
A smile was crossing Rainbow's face, albeit it was arduous to perceive in the heavy rain. She then moved Fluttershy's waterlogged mane out of her face.
Let me make this right. For the both of us. Let me show you how much you really matter to me. What are you saying, Rainbow Dash?
Fluttershy asked. Her voice trembled and cracked, barely above a whisper. Rainbow Dash said nothing. The only reverberation that was cut between them was a loud, distant peal of thunder, along with lightning shimmering aloft. Surprisingly, neither of them seemed to frighten Fluttershy the least. Her entirety was so focused on staring her friend in those soft, magenta eyes. The volume of sincerity and emotion Rainbow had on her face really showed how much she was hurting on the inside, all because of a dumb mistake. For her whole life, she swore to be loyal to those around her, especially to her friends, even if it was something as severe as keeping a dark secret from being exposed to the rest of the world, or keeping something as silly as admitting to being scared of rocks quiet. Above all else, being loyal to Fluttershy, her best friend. Evidently, this was more than breaking a promise of loyalty. The two had known each other since flight camp, and there was something far deeper than a broken promise. And only Rainbow could make sense of that, while only Fluttershy can unravel or unweave its meaning. Another thunderbolt roared, and it was as if nature were telling them to say something, or feel the wrath of regret. Either way, one of them was determined to make it right. Rainbow looked at Fluttershy.
Shy, you know how today was a total bust?
Fluttershy nodded.
Well, I had something to tell ya.
What is it?
This.
Wait, are you sure you want to do this, Dash? I mean, what if she rejects you, or gets scared because she's getting the hint of you coming on too strong? Or worse, she thinks you're a creep. I mean, this is Shy we're talking about. We go way back. There's no way after the way she spoke to me today that she doesn't care for me the way I do for her. Then again, maybe you're right. Do what you think would be best for the two of you.
And she did. Rainbow kissed Fluttershy, their lips meeting as the rain drenched them both. Rainbow wrapped her forelegs around her friend. She brought her close and held her tight, and in that moment, the world drifted away. Under the rain and flashing lightning, the duo melted in each other's grasp, albeit Fluttershy was a little terrified on the inside. Her heart picked up speed, beating violently as she kept her lips pressed against her friend's. Her body shook with ferocity, yet it dwindled completely with the help of Rainbow's wing that somehow put Fluttershy at ease. Both sets of eyes were closed as they savored the moment, which was soon interrupted by the lack of air within. Fluttershy drew back.
Rainbow Dash, let me explain.
Why? Why no? Why are you just now showing me that you really do care for me more than a friend? It's been so long. Tell me!
Fluttershy's voice was unintentionally harsh.
Be honest with her, Dash. You owe her that promise you made all those years ago.
Because
Rainbow sat down, then sighed.
I didn't think you'd say yes after all these years. Even after what you showed me that night back at flight camp. What do you mean?
Thunder clapped in the sky.
Don't you see? We never really talked about that night back in flight camp and how it affected us. We kind of just brushed it off. I ran away from you earlier today because I was just as scared as you were. And it was partially because I couldn't help but think what I did wrong to make you believe that I wouldn't want to be with you. So that's why you were so upset after I brought it up again,
Fluttershy said, sitting down with her soaked friend.
I'm so sorry I told you about this. I didn't know you still felt the same way. I should have known you better than any pony else. I feel like I really let you down. I always thought you changed your mind because you fell for some pony else. That's why I didn't bring it up again until today. I couldn't take it anymore. I should have known you would never break a promise.
Fluttershy looked down, and tears began to form in her eyes, though they were quickly blended in with the rain.
Hey now, there's no need to cry, Fluttershy.
Ask her if she remembers how she met you. Do it.
Fluttershy, can you do something for me?
Between light, wretched sobs, Fluttershy managed to speak up.
What is it? Remember the day we first met. Can you do that for me? Okay. I'll try. For you. No. Not for me. For us. Okay.
And she remembered. The day was sunny and positive, with Pegasi flying from one point to another, all the while loosening their muscles for a day of strenuous practice. The drills the commander had scheduled for the young flyers today would surely leave them aching in pain, for at least a few days. It would be bearable for some, for others, it would be practically unbearable. Eventually, the camp's bell rang aloud, alerting nearby and distant flyers of their summoning. They must gather at the commander's base, or else dire consequences would be in effect for them. And when every pony was lined up abreast, the commander finally said,
"All right, listen up, rookies. Today, we will be working on your ability to cooperatively work with one another in case something goes wrong while you're flying. Your partner is to your left. You have a minute to get to know them. After that, if you're not in the air, I'll put you there myself."
At the very end of the line to the left, there was a cyan filly and a yellow one, both of whom said nothing to one another until they heard the remaining time.
Hey, I'm Rainbow Dash. Guess you're my partner.
She flew upside down, looking at the frail yellow Pegasus.
Oh, Fluttershy. Sorry? Didn't catch that. Speak up. There's no reason to be scared of me. I'm a nice filly, I promise.
Somehow, Fluttershy took that for the better, and with more gusto said,
My name is Fluttershy. It's nice to meet you, Rainbow Dash. You want to be my partner? Well, that's what the coach just said, silly. Say, you seem like a nice pony. Better than the ones I came across here. Want to be friends and partners for the rest of the semester? I like that, actually. I don't know many ponies around here. I'm actually new here. I just transferred over from the schoolhouse in Cloudsdale. Oh, so you're a newbie then. This is awesome. No offense. None taken.
The two smiled at each other.
Say, how about we take this to the sky? Oh, I'm not the very best flyer. I
barely managed to pass the diagnosis test I made you do to get a seat in here. That's okay.
Rainbow Dash came closer to her newly founded friend.
Don't tell any pony this, but I just got the hang of flying a few days ago. You'll get it, I promise.
Rainbow thought about something for a second.
Actually, you know what? We'll get you there, together. Really? Yup, I promise. Now come on, don't make me break my first promise to my new friend.
The duo soared to the clear sky, and that's when it all began. Fluttershy, seated in the pouring, thundering, and violent rain, stared at her friend in the eyes, reminiscing the moment they first encountered each other. Seemingly, it was the starting foundation of their friendship, yet Fluttershy didn't know why Rainbow Dash had chosen her over the 100 other colleagues, especially considering that she had just arrived the day they met. Moreover, why would a confident, ambitious, and courageous pony choose to be friends with some pony who was the complete opposite? Maybe it was because Rainbow Dash was mysteriously drawn to her in a way even she didn't understand. Or maybe it was because she had a bigger heart than the rest of the rampageous, competitive, and soulless ponies that were around. Or maybe it was simply because Rainbow Dash genuinely wanted to be friends with her. Another clash. Another startle. Another word. Fluttershy spoke as she collected her thoughts.
Rainbow Dash, did you become friends with me because you actually wanted to get to know me?
The way Fluttershy asked the question was unlike anything Rainbow had witnessed, and the way her friend was speaking now beat how she spoke earlier today. Hearing her friend articulate herself the way she just did put a smile on Rainbow's face. She had no reason to hide herself anymore.
That's right. And besides, you were to my left. But that's beside the point. I wanted to be your friend because there was something about you that I couldn't pin down when we first met. But now that I think about it, I see it. It was that night that changed everything.
A thought came to Fluttershy.
Can you remember that night? I mean, unless you can't, then that's fine, because
Rainbow gently put her hoof to Fluttershy's mouth.
Shy, it's fine. Let me think for a second, and I'll tell you.
Okay.
And Rainbow Dash remembered. The night was a cold one, with winds from the north blowing through the camp space. Trees and snow whipped around in the gusts, and the ground was practically frozen by winter's wrath. The flight camp's small cabins, which could only reside 2 ponies, were only made of wood, though it was cold-resistant enough to provide the students with warmth to get through the night. Inside Cabin A was Fluttershy, who kept looking outside the front window. Her eyes kept switching from left to right repeatedly, hoping that maybe, just maybe, her friend would be back from her late-night practices.
I wonder what's keeping her. It's not like her to be late for bed. Oh, I hope she didn't get...
In the doorway was Rainbow Dash, frozen by the gelid nature of winter. Her entire body was covered in frost, and her hooves ached of minor frostbite. Fluttershy rushed over and closed the door, then hurried to her filly friend.
Oh my gosh! Rainbow Dash, are you okay?
Rainbow's jaw was frozen shut, but she managed to blurt out an indecipherable mumble.
Yes?
You need to get warmed up. Come on!
Fluttershy did her best to seat Rainbow in front of the fireplace before saying,
I'll be right back. Don't you move an inch.
The amount of chill coursing through Rainbow slowly dwindled as she made herself comfortable in front of the burning fire. Luckily for them, their cabin had a chimney that wasn't clogged of ash and dust, granting them extra warmth. Some of the other cabins didn't have the luxury of a working chimney, making Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy amongst the lucky ones. When Rainbow finally got the feeling back in her wings and hooves, she tried to get up, but was stopped by the stern touch of another pony.
What did I say? Don't move an inch.
Rainbow tried to say something.
So thirsty. Here.
Fluttershy, using her wings, propped Fluttershy up and gave her water to drink.
How's that? Much better.
Rainbow tried to get up, only to be halted once more.
No. You're not going anywhere. Not until I help you with your frostbite. But I gotta get back out there and... Nope. You're not going anywhere. You're gonna stay with me, okay?
Fluttershy brought over a bowl of cold water.
Rainbow, put your hooves in this. It's gonna be cold, but you have to trust me, okay? Okay.
And Rainbow put her hooves in the bowl. Excruciating pain started to sear through her entire body, and she screamed in pain, only for it to be suppressed by Fluttershy's lips. Although she never had the intention of doing so, it kept Rainbow quiet. Pulling back, Fluttershy said,
Sorry. I didn't mean to. You kissed me. No pony's ever done that with me before. My gosh, why did I do that? I'm so stupid. Please don't hate me. Fluttershy, relax. It's fine. I actually kind of like it.
Fluttershy's cheeks reddened.
You did? Yeah, I could tell you did too. I guess I kinda did. Listen, Fluttershy, you're practically the first best friend I've ever had. But do you think we could just be friends for now? I like being your friend, and I don't want to ruin what we have going, and...
Another kiss, another muffle, another moan. The duo kissed in front of the fire, and they both savored the moment. Despite what Rainbow had just said, the amount of passion that radiated from her was as intense as a bride and groom who just got married. It wasn't until Fluttershy realized she had done it again, making her want to pull back, but Rainbow beat her to breaking the kiss. There was a smile on Rainbow's face.
Maybe later we could be something more. I don't know. But for now, let's just be friends, okay?
Fluttershy blushed.
Yes, of course. That's perfectly fine with me.
Rainbow smiled.
Great. So, can I take my hose out of this now? They're colder than they were before. What were you thinking? You're supposed to cool down Frostbite first before you warm it up. If you don't, you'll be in even more pain. Wow. Who knew I'd have a crush on a future doctor? What was that? I mean, where'd you learn that? Biology, but let's not worry about me. We need to get your wings fixed up too. No, I'm fine. The fire has been doing a good job on that. Oh? Yeah. Besides, I'm pretty tired. Can we get some rest now? I'm totally beat, and I think we could both use a bit of rest. Of course we can. Need help getting you to your room? Actually, I was thinking we could sleep side by side tonight by the fire. I know I said I don't want to do anything more than friendship stuff,
But sleeping with a friend is normal, right?
I guess it is.
Fluttershy said, lying down with her friend. Subconsciously, Fluttershy pulled her friend in closer with a wing, keeping her even warmer. Soon, they fell asleep. Later that night, the storm dwindled, and everything outside became nearly still and silent. The star-painted sky was clear, and the moon was shining rays of light through the windows of the cabins, illuminating the interiors. Some moonlight shone in Rainbow's face, making her stir in her sleep. Eventually, she woke up, disturbed of her night's rest, but for the better. The Pegasus' throat was dry like a desert's ground, pleading for water. It made her wish she hadn't slept in front of a burning blaze, but at the same time, she was glad she did because it was with her best friend. What could be better than that? Even so, water was in order, and the Pegasus couldn't wait any longer. She made her way to the bathroom to indulge herself in an endless stream of water. Satisfied, Rainbow made her way back to her sleeping friend, but stopped when the corner of the eye caught something flashing in one of the rooms. Curious, Rainbow pushed through the door, and it was none other than Fluttershy's chamber. She looked around briefly and noticed that on the desk was a notepad and a shiny metal pendant, raising Rainbow's interest tenfold.
What's all this?
Rainbow asked herself, taking hold of the notepad and the pendant. She quickly focused on the page.
Diary entry 15? Topic Rainbow Dash? Huh? I don't get it.
Her eyes darted around to see if any pony was watching. She looked back to the notebook, biting her lower lip as her left hoof began to open the book. But then she snapped it shut.
Wait a second. If I do read it, I wouldn't be very cool snooping around in my best friend's diary. But then again, it's about me. Oh, what should I do?
Read it,
came a voice from the doorway. Rainbow dropped the book and pendant on the desk and swung around to face her friend.
Fluttershy? What are you doing up?
I could ask you the same question. Why are you looking through my stuff?
I saw your pendant flash and it, caught my curiosity.
Rainbow smiled widely.
Right.
Fluttershy gazed at the floor. Her eyes were pooling, and then she said,
Rainbow Dash, you don't have to lie to me. I won't get mad. I saw you looking through my diary. Just tell me why you were doing it.
Rainbow caved in.
Okay, I'm sorry for looking through your stuff. It's just that I saw that the pendant you have is my cutie mark, and I noticed that my name was on the page. Don't you think I have a right to be curious?
You're right. Can you do something for me?
Anything.
Read it aloud.
I can't do that. It wouldn't be right.
Dash, it's okay.
Fluttershy said, a sniffle escaping shortly after.
I want you to.
She smiled.
Well, if you really want me to.
And so, Rainbow Dash picked up her friend's diary and began to read the page. Rainbow's mind couldn't help but read the words in Fluttershy's gentle voice.
There will come a time when I will confess all the feelings I have for her and why she means the world to me. Although we've known each other for 4 years now, I still sense something tingle inside me every time we're together. It's like she's one of those little animals I help out when they're injured or need help with something. It's that satisfaction of giving others help, knowing that they appreciate you for what you do for them. That's how I feel when I'm with her. Sometimes when I look at the night sky and see Luna's array of twinkling stars, I feel so small compared to them. Thinking of how big this world is and how I'm nothing in it really scares me. But I still know that my existence could mean a lot to a specific pony, and I hope she will feel the same way one day. And if it's supposed to be that way, maybe the universe is telling me I'm bound to be with my best friend forever, even if it doesn't come until we're much older. I guess I had to wait until she's ready to take the next step in our friendship. And when she is ready, I'll be sure to show her how much I care. End of entry 15.
Rainbow's eyes began to water as she turned away from the diary to look at her friend straight in the eye.
Fluttershy, is all this true?
Fluttershy looked down at the floor.
Yes, every bit of it. I had to write down how I feel about you, or else I can't take it. I hope you don't think differently of me. Please don't think I'm some freak that likes you a lot.
Rainbow smiled half-heartedly.
I don't. I'm just not ready yet, Shy. We have the rest of our lives to figure out what we're gonna do. No need to rush things. I know your heart is in the right place, and it's the real thing, but I'd rather do this right if we're gonna do it at all. One day, Shy, if it works out between us, it'll happen. I promise.
Promise?
Promise.
The two laid abreast in front of the barely aglow fire and let sleep take them away to their dreams. Rainbow Dash was gazing at her friend, all the while being plummeted by the endless stream of rain. Her body was cold and wet, and she couldn't feel her wings, but she didn't care. The memory Rainbow had just recollected was seemingly the pivotal moment of their next step as friends, even though both had agreed to stay friends until they thought they were ready, unless the other lost interest, which wasn't the case. Yet, even after forming a friendship that was rendered by pure interest, genuine trust, and utmost loyalty, both of them feared they would blight their friendship, despite everything the duo had been through. Fluttershy often got upset thinking about that possibility, and Rainbow was no exception. Sometimes she would cry herself to sleep, thinking about different scenarios and how she and Fluttershy would stop being friends forever. Sometimes, Rainbow would go as far as avoiding her altogether because she couldn't bear to look into those eyes that seemed to pierce her very form. Foundroy and thunderbolts bellowed all around, and the rain began heavier. Lightning became more frequent, and thunder became louder. Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash were standing in the eye of the storm. Neither could stall any longer, or else both would succumb to nature's wrath. Rainbow Dash collected herself before saying,
I remember. You stayed because you remembered me saying that we'd be something more. Am I right?
Fluttershy stood motionless. She disregarded the clashing thunder, shimmering lightning, and howling wind to confront her friend.
Yes, that's right. I did stay with you because of that. Not only that, but also because Twilight kind of brought us together as well.
Rainbow chuckled and scratched the back of her head.
Yeah, I guess she kinda did.
Fluttershy was persistent.
But why were you so passive about showing me that you cared so much? Didn't you trust me?
Of course I trusted you. It's just that
you were scared.
Yeah, I guess I was. I didn't want to lose you. Not after everything.
Oh, I get it. It's fine, really.
Fluttershy said, moving closer, still scared as ever.
Does that mean?
Only if you still want to, Shy.
Rainbow moved closer.
Do you?
Their foreheads touched.
Yes, I do.
Their lips met as the storm raged on. And my $10 patron is Blue Bolt. Thank you so much for supporting me and donating $10 a month to my Patreon. Hey everyone, Agent Fluffy here, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to support me even more, feel free to support my Patreon. The links are right here.